Let me make sure this is recording. Okay, so I think a lot of you guys might really like these things. Number one is going to be this device right here. Let me see if I can switch the camera around to show you. Okay, so this is my favorite, absolute favorite product of the year. It basically boils your water. You plug it into the cigarette lighter or any of your aux ports. So, and by the way, I'm not pointing to the fish hood ornament. I'm pointing to this thing here. So you use the cigarette lighter and you can plug it in, plug it into the cigarette lighter or the aux ports. The top screws off and it holds 1.2 liters of water. Now this part I made for it, I didn't want any bugs going in here, so it doesn't actually come with this. So what this thing does is it will boil your water in, well, it depends on how cold the water is that you put in it, but usually I get hot water within about anywhere from 25 to 35 minutes. And when I say hot, I'm talking about boiling water. Now I'm going to list these products on my website so you can purchase them if you would like. They're at www.xdadventure.com. That's www.xdadventure.com. So this also is kind of like a thermos. And when I say like a thermos, it will keep the water kind of hot, not as hot as a regular thermos. The way it dispenses, you actually push this down. This is actually closed off even without this on. This closes, and when you press this down, it makes a little release there and allows the water out. So by far, that is absolutely like the most useful thing I have probably used this year. And the reason I say it's so useful, let me see if I can switch this camera back around. The reason it's so useful, there are many times where you might wake up early in the morning and it's cold. And this is not just for people vehicle camping. This is for people who take their kids to play baseball. Any travelers who are traveling, it basically will give you don't have to stand in McDonald's to get hot water. The way I use it most of the time is usually short trips or long trips. I'll boil the water and I'll make a stop, and I'll either, if it's cold out, I'll just use it for hot water. I'll also pour it over eggs. I'll cook soup with it, instant soup. And now all the products I mentioned to you, I need to let you know, I'm not recommending them, and I'm not recommending them because I don't know what these, I don't want to be responsible product liability wise. Like that one, I've only been testing for a little while, and the instructions, I think that one was from China. And like I said, you can find it on the website and order it, my website, and you can order it. But I think that one had the Chinese instructions. Like some of the stuff I buy has instructions in Chinese. Well, it comes from China, and the instructions in English, you can't even understand them. So if it lights the house on fire, burns down, whatever it does, injures the kids, I'm not responsible, guys. It's up to you. All I'm going to do is tell you right now, these are like my favorite products. You can try them if you want to. Okay. And so I'll pour it over eggs. Make the food different ways. And I wish I had it years ago. Really wish I had it years ago. I did some vehicle camping, different seasons in the winter sometimes. And I would have loved to have had that when I started the vehicle in the morning to get the hot air going, and had the hot water boiling at the same time. Now, I do have other hot water systems that I use, but like I've got a jet boil. I've got a system that cooks 33,000 BTUs. It boils a lot of hot water, but I still want that thing. I broke it. I think it was my fault. It says don't use it without water, and I accidentally turned it on without water in it. So I think I fried it. But I actually want two of them. That's how much I like it. And another method I'll use is I'll boil the water. And if I'm not ready for the water right then, I can actually pour it into another thermos that's actually a better thermos, and then I'll use that boiling water later and add it to regular water to get the drinking water, the warm water that I want. Okay, so let me go to the product. I love that product. I tried products that were smaller than that one. You'll see some products maybe listed on Amazon that are smaller. Two issues I had. One, it wasn't enough water. Completely not enough. The second thing was that one of them, when I would take the top off, it would spew water out, like boiling water. And I thought, man, that could have ruined my laptop. If someone was driving, it could injure them. Like they might swerve to get out of the boiling water or something. It wasn't a lot, but it was enough that it could burn you or ruin a computer device. So those are now it could have been user error, but I had it happen more than once. So if you see the device that it kind of elongates, because if you look at this water boiler, you'll see one that costs less. I think it costs less. And it has potential. Like I would test it again because it was cool. I would say the only reason I wouldn't test it again is because I just need more water. Okay. But it has some cool functions. But for me, I want a lot more water. Okay. So that's in the way that thing operates, a green light will come on while it's boiling. When it's finished boiling, well, while it's getting ready to boil, while it's warming up, right? Heating the water. Once it starts boiling, it will turn red to let you know, and it will cut off automatically. So it works in conjunction with my second favorite product, but you don't need the second favorite product to use the number one water boiling device. Like I constantly want that thing. It's been broken, and every freaking day here, I'm in the Grand Canyon right now. It's a freaking killer view up here, but I keep wanting that. Like I just got outside and boiled water. I'm thinking, dude, I could have had boiling water on my trips between these sites, plenty of boiling water. And I'm just wasting my time by not having that thing. So second product, now go to www.xdadventure. That's X for X-ray, D for dog, adventure.com. That'll be listed. Now, the other product, second favorite product of the year, is this thing right here. Let me see if I can turn it around. And this right here is freaking killer. I had to order this also. Like some of these products I couldn't find in stores, so I ordered them on Amazon. This thing plugs into your cigarette lighter or your aux port, and it splits. The bottom has actually 3 cigarette lighter slots. I've got one plugged in right now, so watch this. This would usually go into the cigarette or aux, but this thing splits. It gives me 3, and each one has an individual on-off switch. So that just powered off one of them, right? So each one has an on-off switch for each additional plug like this that you plug in. Okay, so you can turn them off and have the others running, turn some off, have some running. At the end of it, it has 2 USB plugs. So I've got 2 USBs right here plugged into the side. I think it's got 2 at the bottom. I have trouble getting in there because these are mounted now, but I believe it's 2 on the bottom. The specs on my website will tell you. So like right here, I've got 1 coming out the bottom, but I think there's another one. And it also has a main on-off switch in which you can cut the whole thing with 1 switch. All right, 1 switch, turn the whole thing on and off. It has a voltmeter, which is imperative if you're doing any type of major vehicle, camping, going through the national parks a lot. You need a voltmeter. I do. And it comes with one. Whereas before I had this, I actually purchased a separate voltmeter. I still have it. Standalone, and it cost more, I think, than this thing. So this gives you the voltmeter so you can tell if your battery is going down too low, like when you're charging things. Now, what I don't like about it is it doesn't have additional on-offs for the USB ports. So USBs are all on or all off. All right. Now I don't know if I listed these on my site yet, but these are freaking killer. I love these. I don't think they're listed yet, but maybe they are. These are USB on-offs, and I plug my USB. So I've got a USB coming out of here, going into this, and then, well, let me restate that. this thing has a USB plug. It goes into here, and then it has a port where I can plug my USBs in, and now I've got an on-off switch for them. Okay, so I've actually got 3 of these things. One's in the cigarette lighter. The other 2 are in the aux ports. The other one, I unplugged it, but here's the second one. And those are some of the most useful. Those are my 2 favorite products of the year. Number 1 is the water boiler. Number 2 is that I'll call it a multi-plug adapter. They're listed on my site, on my store. I'll show you one other that I've listed it on the store, but it might not, it could be my 2nd or 3rd favorite. Let me show you what I'm talking about and why. This was a standalone voltmeter, and I bought it before I had those other, before I had the device that I had just shown you. And so this voltmeter shows me I'm at 12.17. And what I know is that from everything basically what happens is, if you're vehicle camping or doing a lot with your vehicle and you're charging a lot of things, you need to know your volts, because you can charge a lot of things with your car off, but you don't want to. By the way, I'm not a mechanic, so mechanics might tell you something else, but you can charge a whole bunch of devices, but you want to watch that, because you like right now I'm charging stuff. I've been charging stuff with my vehicle off, but 12.17 tells me that I got to kind of watch it now, because most of the mechanics and people have said like around 12 you want to cut it off, and I've gone down to I think around 11.7 maybe, and I've still been able to start the car. But that, you're gonna have to test all that out. All I'm gonna tell you is, if you're doing this type of stuff, you're gonna want some sort of voltmeter so you can watch what's going on. You can be charging things without your vehicle running. And when I turn the vehicle on, I turn all the switches on and charge everything while I'm running. But there's lots of times where you'll want to charge stuff without running your vehicle. And so that's where the voltmeters come in. Now, the standalone voltmeter has a lot more functions. It has things where, like, I haven't used it in a long time. I only used it shortly, but it could show you, like, I don't even know if I'm saying this correctly, the terminology, but the amount of amps that each individual device is drawing. But what I found right away, I could see how that could be useful to people. But with prioritizing everything I'm prioritizing right now, I've fallen back on, I don't even look at that at all. I just look at the volts. And before I had these meters, I had my car die like so many times. And I never knew how much more I could charge something. And when you first start doing this type of stuff, you'll start learning there's different lights and things that might be running, drawing stuff. And then with time, you might actually like deactivate certain lights just so you can like charge things without your battery going dead. Anyway, the main thing is you'll start to figure it out, but you need the first tools to get going. And my vehicle died so many times that I needed a power pack. I don't have one listed on my website, but the power pack I have, I may list it. So I'll go ahead and tell you that if I had a favorite product of all time, this would be one of them. And when I say all time, I purchased this about 2 years ago, so it can't really go in the favorite products of the last year. But if I had to have one out of all of these things that I've mentioned, it would probably be actually be this thing. And I might list it later on my store if it's not out there yet. But this is a power pack, and it's jump started my vehicle many times. And it actually has an air gauge also, which I've never used, but all I use it for is the starting the vehicle if it dies. So green shows it's good. It's got red. It says it's ready. And so why would that be if you don't have anything at all, like if you don't have something you'll want that first. I don't do power pack reviews. There could be some better, but that one has worked better than expected. It said that it needs to charge like once every month. I think I've gone like 2.5 months and still had that at green. It almost is never below green. It's always started my vehicle. And before I had these other devices, it was just a mess trying to do the vehicle camping.
And so if you're an individual, even if you're not vehicle camping, you want a power pack, because if your car dies, you don't want to deal with having to get someone to jump start your car. So those, I've got other products listed on the store. Like I've got thermoses listed that work pretty cool. Um, I'll give you an example. When I boil the water, I'll pour it into here. Usually half boiling, half regular water is a good mix when it's cold out. Um, you'll see that I've got some stuff listed on my store that you might wonder why I've got it listed, like black duct tape. Black duct tape, if you've never used it, buy some, because it works well in certain situations and better in certain situations. And if you have a roll of it, you can at least start testing it and learning how it works. Here's a shocker. Like I cut off the part of this hood that when I would sleep in it, it would bother my neck. A lot of you might be wondering, what in the world is this stuff on his freaking jacket? And I, the right way, is probably, it, I decided, look, man, I'm going to try that tape, because if I'm out in the field, I need to know what can fix my stuff if it breaks. What if I don't have time to sew something? I need to know how all my tools and everything work and what they can be used for. This has been on it for probably like 8 months, and I used the black duct tape to seal it. And this is just a down jacket. I took a pair of scissors, cut it off. For all I knew, that duct tape might have come off within like a week or even a couple of days, and it has kept this thing sealed. Now, I have seen where the tape has worked really well for a while on something else, and then suddenly it starts to not work real well. So the main thing is, get some of that tape if you've not used it yet. Learn how it can be used as a tool, and it definitely has a strength. That's like one of the attributes, is that black tape. It's harder to like rip it. It has a strength in the material itself that's much stronger than other tape. And then the bonding aspect, it's going to depend on what you're bonding it to. Now, super glue. Hey, it's like the one thing I wanted to list in the very beginning. You're like, why? It's like $1. Why would you care about super glue? Because it's one of the most useful things I've learned. And my father used to buy super glue growing up as a kid. You'd use it once and it would like clog up. It wouldn't work again. It would be like all hard. It was a waste. Little containers, little tubes, metal tubes. And I decided to go to the store. You'll see the glue I tested. It's maybe like that big. It's got a black top, kind of like triangular looking. I took it overseas to several countries. It was in my bag, spinning all over the place, upside down. And a year and a half later, it worked perfectly. And I've had over and over, I've had experience where that it constantly works. So it worked so well, I thought, I'm going to come back. I'm going to buy a really big one. And I bought a really big thing of super glue, and it clogged. It didn't work. So I'm not an expert on it, but if you're still having problems with super glue not working, buy that glue out there, because it's so, like, the ability to have super glue that works when you need it to is super useful if you don't have that, don't know how to do it yet. And that's the way it works for me, guys. So those are some of the products. There's more out there. I've got a story out there, a short story. I've got some merch, XD Adventure merch. So go to the store, guys. Check it out. Buy it now for this holiday season coming up. If there are any supply chain lags, man, you may have it for birthdays and or next holiday season. And I've got a lot of other cool stuff to list. So go back out there again later. Hopefully I'll get some other products listed. Guys, thanks for joining me. We're in the Grand Canyon. I'm going to try to get a sunset view here, man. We got closed out 2 days ago. Today we got a good sunrise view. I'm going to try to get the sunset. And okay, guys, thanks for joining me, XD. Check out the store, www.xdadventure.com. Out of here, guys. Go ahead and do your yell if you're in the appropriate location. Woo! And you don't have to do mine, man. Just whatever yells on your mind. Ow! See you guys.